One of the things that I find that takes quite a long time is writing captions for my images. So I decided to see if AI could be used to do this for me. The short answer is no. If you're wondering about this weird title image, this was AI generated in Photoshop using the prompt "an AI writing a caption for a photo." AI seems to be a Marmite thing where people either love it or hate it, though I'm pretty ambivalent about it. I have noticed that Google's search results AI summaries now often seem to be quite good, whereas when they first introduced them they were nearly always full of incorrect information. So it does seem to me like AI could potentially be useful. So to test this, I used a visible light photo of a flower and an ultraviolet photo of a flower and ran them through several different LLMs, asking them to write a caption or describe the image for me. So this is the visible light photo. The caption I wrote for this image myself was "Purple flowers of a common mallow, Malva sylvestris plant. The flowers have 5 light purple coloured petals with darker purple veins running down them. They are hermaphrodite with pollen-bearing anthers surrounding the stigmata at the centre of the flower." And this is the ultraviolet image, and the caption that I wrote myself for this was "Flowers of a common mallow, Malva sylvestris plant, photographed in reflected ultraviolet light. The flowers have a similar tonality to that in visible light, with lighter petals that have darker stripes running down them. The base of the flower is darker in UV, and the pollen is also much darker." So that gives an example of how I write my image captions myself, and next we can compare what the AI generates for the same images. A quick note that in the video of these tests, I'm sometimes shortening the bit where it's thinking about what to answer, because it would be a bit boring to make you wait all that time. So we'll start off with Llama 3 via a llama. This isn't actually a vision model, but I didn't realise this when I was first testing this, and let's see what it gives me for asking it to write a caption for this image of Malva sylvestris. So the caption it's given us is "Sweet Surrender. A picturesque patch of wild mallow, Malva sylvestris, blooms in the sun. Its delicate white flowers and soft green leaves a gentle reminder to stop and smell the roses, or in this case, the mallow." It doesn't sound like a proper image caption. It's very sort of flowery marketing language, and also it's given this even though it can't actually see what the photo is of. So we'll now try Llama 3 again, asking it to write a botanical description for this image of Malva sylvestris flowers. Here it has been a bit more helpful, and it said that it can't see the image, which is correct. Now we'll ask it to write a caption for this ultraviolet image of Malva sylvestris. And again, it's writing a description even though it can't actually see the image. The description it's come up with is "Moonlighting with the night shades. This enchanting photo captures the beauty of Malva sylvestris, also known as common mallow in its natural habitat, with delicate white flowers and soft hairy leaves. This member of the mallow family is a charming sight to behold, especially under the soft glow of the moon." So it's complete nonsense. It doesn't have white flowers even in visible light. It's just making it all up. Now, again with Llama 3 still, we'll ask it to write a botanical description for the ultraviolet image, and we'll ask it to include information about how its appearance differs from invisible light. So here it's giving us a long description, even though it can't actually see the image at all. So it's just making up what it wants to. So reading this, you can see it's made up some nonsense really. It's saying that the image is sort of blue-violet, which is correct if you look at it. But then it's also saying that the sepals and stamens display a deep orange-yellow fluorescence, which is not correct. It would only be fluorescing if it was a visible light image of it lit in ultraviolet. To be honest though, that is, from my prompt, it could be inferring that it is a visible light photo, and I was just lighting it with ultraviolet. The other wrong information here is it's saying the petals texture and shape appear altered. taking on a more elongated thread-like form. As far as I know, flowers can't change their shape just depending on what light you're shining on them. So now we'll look at a model that does have vision incorporated into it. This is Llava-mistral. And again, we'll just ask it, write a caption for this image of Malva sylvestris using the visible light photo. So it's given us a description here. There's nothing absolutely sort of incorrect about it, but again, it's using sort of more marketing speak, saying it's surrounded by lush green leaves, creating a picturesque scene that speaks to the beauty and diversity of our natural world, which is not really what you want for an image caption. Sort of if you were trying to market your image to like be used on a jigsaw or something like that, maybe you would say something like that. But really we just want a description of what is in the image. So now we'll ask it to write a botanical description for this image of Malva sylvestris flowers. So what it's come up with is there are two large pinkish purple flowers in the image. These flowers are likely to be common mallow, Malva sylvestris. The plants have a robust growth habit with broad, lush green leaves and stems. The flowers have 5 petals each and are arranged in a loose cluster at the top of the stems. The overall plant structure suggests that it is a well-maintained specimen with plenty of sunlight for growth. So it's not done too badly here. There's not really any incorrect information here, but it's not really what I would call a botanical description of it either. It does also say sort of lush green leaves, which again is not sort of the wording that you'd normally use. So now we'll try Llava-mistral with an ultraviolet image, and again we'll just ask it to write a caption for the image, and we will tell it what it's looking at. Well, it's got that completely wrong. It's not a wild rose bush, and the flowers are not delicate and pink. The background's not lush and green. It's as if it's just not actually looked at the image at all and is making it up from what it thinks it should be. Lastly, for Llava-mistral, we'll try it again with the ultraviolet image, this time asking it to write a botanical description for it and include information on how its appearance differs from visible light. Right, so after reading that, it doesn't seem too bad, but I'm not quite sure about this bit where it's saying the pink coloration of the petals is still visible in ultraviolet, which is not really correct. They're sort of more of a blue colour. The stamens have become a much more vivid and intense purple or blue, and the other bit that it's saying down here is it's saying that the stigma and ovary can be seen as darker areas. So let's just have a quick look at the image in Photoshop. Well, it's difficult to see exactly from this image, but we can see it's all, well, the stamens are quite light coloured, where the pollen's very dark and the styles are very dark. Sorry, the stigmas are very dark as well. I think here I would probably say that this is not too bad, but it's a bit long, possibly for a caption. But on the other hand, I didn't say write a caption, I said write a botanical description, so I'd say it's done a fairly good job there. So next we'll look at Llama 3.2 Vision, which is a version of Llama that's had vision capability added to it. So first of all, again, we'll just start with the visible light image and ask it to write a caption. So at least certainly the first part of this description here is not too bad. It's fairly accurate. So down here it is saying about the images taken from a low angle, which is not correct. It was taken from above a high angle looking down at the flowers. I don't know why it thinks it's taken at a low angle. And again, so it's a bit flowery marketing style language in here. But other than that, and also being a bit too long for a standard image caption, other than that, it's not too bad really. But again, sort of it's not as good as you could write yourself. So next we'll ask it to write a botanical description of the flowers. So this is not too bad, but it's still not very good, really. So the general information is correct, but it's saying things like it's mentioning the leaves are small and green with a slight wavy edge, and then it's just repeating itself down here in a bullet point saying the same thing. And it's not really what you would call a botanical description, although it does go into some information into some detail about the flowers and that kind of thing. It's also saying about the plant's known for its medicinal properties up here, which is something that you might want to add to a image description. But down here it is saying the image highlights the plant's interesting facts, including its medicinal properties and edible flowers and use as a source of dyes. And it's not the image that's doing that, that's this description that is written. So again, sort of it's still sort of even though it's not too bad, it is still managing to fit some nonsense in there. So now we're going to look at Llama 3.2 Vision with the ultraviolet image, and we'll start off with the basic one, just asking it to write a caption for this image of Malva sylvestris. So here it's got things wrong again. It doesn't seem to actually really be looking at the image. It's saying it's got lush green leaves, which is not correct. You can hardly see the leaves, and they're just a neutral sort of grey colour, where you can see them sort of down here and up here. Some of the information here is correct. The plant's flowers are the primary focus. That is correct. Yeah, the leaves are not dark green. They're just neutral coloured. The background of the image is blurred. That's correct. And then it has got this flowery marketing language, which is not suitable for an image caption. And so that's about it. So again, sort of a pretty poor result here. So we'll now be a bit more explicit, telling that it is an ultraviolet image, and ask it to include information on how its appearance differs from that in visible light. So this is with Llama 3.2 Vision again. Let's see how it does. So I don't think it's done too badly upon reading this, but it has got some things sort of that I wouldn't really agree with. So first of all, it's saying that they've got a deep, rich purple colour, which is fairly correct, and it's also correct that that's not visible in normal light. Petals and leaves have a more textured, sort of more velvety texture to them. It's difficult to say if I would agree with that from this image, but I do find that my ultraviolet photos texture on petals and leaves does seem to be more pronounced than in visible light. Whether that is down to ultraviolet or just the different lighting that I use in the ultraviolet images compared to visible light, I'm not sure. But I will give it that is a possibility that is correct. And again, sort of it's repeating itself a bit here, saying sort of the patterns on the petals and stuff are more prominent. Flower structure is revealed in greater detail. I mean, again, sort of these three things about the structure, the details, and the texture, they're all basically the same kind of thing. It says the flowers under visible light are less vibrant than their appearance in UV light. I think I would probably disagree with that and say that the bright sort of pink colour of them in visible light is actually more vibrant than their appearance in ultraviolet. And again, it's just repeating the thing about the texture here, saying that it's got the texture's less visible in visible light, which I will give it, but why repeat yourself 4 times? And yeah, same thing again about the texture there in the details. And then it's got a conclusion saying it's more vibrant and detailed. I would probably disagree that it's more vibrant. I might agree that it is more detailed. But again, sort of, if that's down to the actual ultraviolet light or just the way the image is lit is debatable. So next we'll look at Florence 2, GPT-4o-Mini and Qwen 2-VL all combined. This was a lot more complicated to set up than adding a model in Llama, but all the technical work in getting the different models to talk to each other was already done. It's using a script called Image Agent from Robert Martin Short, which you can download from GitHub. I'll put a link in the description. He's also written an accompanying article, which I'll put a link to, which describes how the code works. So this gives us a fairly decent description of the image. A bunch of purple flowers are in the middle of the picture. There are green leaves around the flowers. The flowers have small white stamens on them. That is fairly good and correct. So next we'll try asking the image agent to write a botanical description for the visible light image. So this is giving us the result. Malva sylvestris, commonly known as common mallow, features distinctive 5-petaled flowers that are typically purple or pink with darker veining. The flowers are about 2 to 3 centimeters in diameter and grow in clusters. The leaves are palmate and lobed, contributing to the plant's overall lush appearance. So I disagree with this bit about saying that the plant has an overall lush appearance. I don't think that is appropriate really for an image caption. But other than that, this is very good. It describes what's in the image and it's nice and concise. So now we'll try the image agent with an ultraviolet image and just a basic prompt asking it for an image caption. So we can see here that it thinks it didn't do a very good job. It's saying a bunch of purple flowers are in the middle of the picture. The background is black. The flowers are all the same shade of purple as the background. The petals on the flowers are very small and pointy, which is not correct. Then the final one, possibly, a bunch of purple flowers are in the middle of the picture. The background is very dark. The flowers are all the same shade of purple as the background. I mean, the flowers being small and pointy is not correct, but at least this final one is not making anything up, but it's not terrible. I guess it is kind of correct, but it's still not particularly good as a caption for an image. So we'll now try asking it about the ultraviolet image and asking it to write a description that compares it to the flower's appearance in visible light. So this is giving us the result. Malva sylvestris, commonly known as common mallow, features 5-petaled flowers that are typically pink to purple with darker veins. In ultraviolet light, these flowers may appear more vibrant or exhibit patterns not visible in the human visible spectrum, enhancing their attractiveness to pollinators. So it's not really given us any information based on the actual image as to how they appear in ultraviolet light. It appears to just be giving us some general information as to how flowers may appear in ultraviolet light. So not a very good result here really. So in conclusion, maybe with a specially trained model or a lot of time spent carefully testing and crafting prompts to get what you want out of a specific model, AI could be used for image captioning. But as it is currently, I would say it's not suitable. The combination image agent approach might be suitable for creating alt text to help search engines understand your images, but I don't think it's worth going to the trouble of using AI for this yourself. I would expect that Google et al. Will be implementing their own machine vision AI into their web crawlers soon if they haven't already. So there's no point putting any effort into this yourself if they're probably going to be doing it anyway.